Day two of Alec Baldwin's involuntary manslaughter trial begins later on today in just about 2 hours. The prosecution and defense delivering their opening arguments Wednesday, one day after 16 jurors were seated. Of the 5 men and 11 women, 12 will be designated as the jury, and the other 4 will be deemed as alternates. The actor is charged in connection with the accidental shooting death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of that Western film Rust. It all happened nearly 3 years ago, back in October of 2021, while Baldwin was rehearsing with a prop gun for a scene. That was, of course, on that movie set in Santa Fe County, New Mexico. Do want to talk more about all of this here, so let's bring in Stefano Da Fre, the director and screenwriter of Stolen Doe. Now, he's worked firsthand with pistols, rifles, and other guns on film sets there. So I do want to bring him in live to talk more about it. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Josh, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Of course. Well, I do want to talk a little bit more about guns on these sets here. So kind of explain to me the procedures that are in place to make sure that something like this doesn't happen.
Well, first things first, you go always with an experienced armor. You know, in this case with Hannah Gutierrez Reed, 23 years old, no experience. I believe it was her second film. You do not hire an armor who has no experience. That's the first thing right off the bat. The second is you get a props master who's worked with firearms and is very diligent and knows the firearms you're working to your audience so they understand Westerns are the PhD level of film for firearms. It's not a bank robbery scene in a movie. A Western will require older firearms, often older models, that will require a deep knowledge of this. The third thing is you want an assistant director who would be very knowledgeable of dealing with how to call a cold gun, knowing that everyone else's job is in line. And then the rest, obviously, is having a director that puts it all together and a producing team, the director and the producing team that would make these decisions ahead of time in terms of hiring.
And I do want to talk a little bit more about the armor role itself. What is the general role of that armor overall on a movie set?
To keep it very simple for the audience, it's the specific role to handle the firearms. Your job is to handle the firearms to the actors, have safety procedures before in pre-production, also to speak to the actors or extras or any individual who will be using it on camera and letting them know what this firearm is, what bullets they're using, to look at it, how to know that it's clean, and go through with them step by step so that they feel comfortable and that you're also, in a sense, doing it for yourself. You're rechecking your own job, you know, maybe a second or third time. You're doing that with the props master. So the armor is the president of that task of handling specifically only the firearms.
And from your personal experience, when you are talking about a specific actor who is using one of these weapons on the set, is it their job to make sure that the gun or weapon in general is not loaded?
I was just having this conversation at a dinner just in Los Angeles about this, and it's the fourth in the chain of command. So you would go from the armor to the props master, then to the assistant director who calls a cold gun. But it is the actor's responsibility at the end to look at the gun and to see what has been inserted in place. Now, they're not tasked with the job of calling the gun cold, meaning the gun is safe to use. That's not their job. However, in the Baldwin case, we know from body cam footage and from footage that will be used in the trial and was also used in the armor's trial, who was found guilty for the same movie. We know that he was rushing the set. He was calling the shots, as it were. He was not necessarily listening to when the director would yell cut. And these things, when people fall out of line with a hierarchy of structure, especially when you're around firearms, it really can make things like this happen, a terrible accident and a death happen all too frequently.
Are accidents overall like this on movie sets fairly rare? I feel as though I've heard of just a couple big, high profile ones that have made headlines, but are these fairly rare?
Josh, I'm really glad you asked me. So before getting on with you, I looked up the statistics, and less than 2% of films that use firearms have accidental discharges. We know that Rust, aside from Elena dying and Joel Souza, the director, being shot, we know that there was another on this set accidental discharge. So that's rare in and of itself. That means that there was already a symptom of a problem on this set at a high level. These accidents that happen like this are extremely rare, especially a death. I mean, the one that was, when I was beginning the film industry, that was well known to everybody, was the death of Brandon Lee, who was Bruce Lee's son filming The Crow. These are very rare, specifically for prop guns. So, you don't see this very often.
And the Brandon Lee case is the one that always comes to mind when I think about situations like this. Now, can situations like this, high profile ones that are making headlines, so to speak, can those kind of serve as maybe a learning experience for folks who are on sets and are going to be handling weapons?
It's an excellent question. Not only is it an excellent question, will it change how our business changes? Will it change legally how we handle our business? Will it have an impact on the Directors Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild in America? I believe it will, because you may need 6 people in the chain of command rather than the 4 people that are in charge. It may require all film sets to not just have an armor, to have an assistant armor specifically added who works, maybe directly only with the actor, or specific actors that have 2 armors. I think it will change the laws, and I think it will change the union rules as well.
All right, Stefano Da Fre, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and help break all of this down. Anything else you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
Josh, I think you've done such a great job. We really talked about the safety and also the impact that it'll have long term. I just did a film with a 9mm, with a few 9mm weapons that were prop guns. The film is called Stolen Dough, and it's on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. And I just want to show you, when some people watch all the firearms that we have in the film, we took so many extra precautions that were beyond just what the union requested. We use protective glass, protective goggles, things that you can go above and beyond. And these things are not expensive. You can rent them, and they're not prohibitive, even if you're at a medium scale budget or an independent budget. So it's something for your audience to know that a little bit of safety doesn't cost a lot, and it goes a long way.
Stefano, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.